out of the blue, some of you might ask, what exactly is the relevance of leadership with my political self? So actually, it's as easy as this. You know, or you may not know it, but some of us are intrinsically has the ability to lead. And so if you notice, some of you would right then and there always volunteer yourselves to lead the class, while others will always shy away from the responsibility. So in that particular scenario, we can then actually identify if we are just the mere followers and we don't like responsibilities, or we are those few who really would want to lead, and so we consider ourselves as leaders. And so let us now move forward and let us tackle some leadership theories. So first we will talk about McClelland's need theory of motivation. So according to David McClelland's motivation theory, which is more formally known as the expectancy value theory of motivation, it states that humans have total of three core types emotional needs, which are um, they acquire as a result of their life journey. And given that this model focuses on needs, it is considered a content theory of motivation. And the needs the needs the model considers are the following: the need for achievement, the need for power, and also the need for affiliation. So when we say achievement, it is actually the need for getting things done. And when we say power, it is basically the need for us having an influence over the others. And when we say affiliation, it's actually the need for us having a good relationship with other individuals. So McClellan says that these needs are scalar and everyone has a blend of them, though usually one is dominant. And the blend and the strength of an individual's needs shapes their behaviors and motivations in work, or in our case in our class, and in the wider world as well. So the different needs bring different strengths, different weaknesses, and also different preferred ways of working and behavior risks in the workplace, or in our class, or in our school. So, awareness of your own needs can help you improve your own self awareness, and can help you improve your own self management and decision making. So, similarly, knowing the needs of the people you work with or for can help you manage them more efficiently. So, that is the theory of McClellan's motivation. So let's talk about another theory, and that is the three leadership motivation patterns by Chan and Resco. This is actually a very broad, integrative, theoretical framework for understanding relationships between the individuals and differences, and also about the various leaders' behaviors is actually presented in this theory. So it proposes that a new individual differences construct called the motivation to lead is actually this is actually a large scale study using three samples in different occupational and even uh, cultural contexts. And it shows these three factors underlying the motivation to lead, namely the affective identity motivation, the calculative, non calculative motivation, and then we have the social normative motivation. So, um, the uh, this is actually a parsimonious model of antecedents to motivation to lead, and it is developed through a hierarchical regression to provide incremental validity over other predictors such as general cognitive ability, values, personality, and even attitudes in the prediction of the behavioral measures of leadership potential. And according to Chan and Drasko, when we say effective identity motivation, excuse me, it has something. Okay. Effective identity motivation. I'm so sorry. To lead comes from an actual enjoyment of being in a leadership position, and when we say calculative, non-calculative motivation to lead involves the extent to which an individual weighs the costs and the benefits of taking on the role of the leadership role. Now, of course, we know that leadership has its benefits and its burdens. So it always has its pros and cons. And so a person high on non-calculative motivation to lead doesn't much consider the cost and the benefits. And when we talk about social normative motivation to lead, is actually feeling an obligation to lead. So, for example, other people might call on you or might nominate you to take on that leadership position, and that social pressure motivates you to lead. Of course, these aren't only the motivators of leadership, because power is a very strong motivator. So often for the worst types of leaders, of course. In fact, the motivation for power can often distinguish good from bad leaders. If the leader is motivated by personal power, what is in it? Okay, what is in it for the leader, or what would he benefit from such leadership role? This is often the slippery slope that leads to bad leadership. So, socialized power involves the leader using her or his power to help benefit the followers. So, that is on the good side, okay? That is being a good leader. So, why is motivation to lead important? It helps to provide insight into what motivates a person to lead, and it also provides the very foundation for future leadership development. Okay, so that is the three leadership motivation patterns. Now let's talk about another theory, and that is the path goal theory. So when we say path goal theory, it is actually also known as the path goal theory of leader effectiveness, or the path goal model is the leadership um, theory developed by Robert House, and an Ohio State University graduate in 1971, and it was being revised in 1996. So the theory states that leaders behavior is contingent on the satisfaction, motivation, and also performance of his or her subordinate. So the revised version also argues that the leader engages in behaviors that complement the subordinate's abilities and compensate for the deficiencies. So, according to Robert House and John Antonakis, the task-oriented elements of the path goal model can be classified as a form of instrumental leadership. So, uh, a, a leader's behavior is acceptable to subordinates when it is viewed as a source of satisfaction, and motivational when when need satisfaction is contingent on the performance. And also, the leader facilitates and coaches and even rewards effective performances of his subordinates. Now, the original path goal theory identifies the achievement oriented or the directive, participative, and supportive leader behavior. So, when we say the directive path goal clarifying leader behavior, it refers to the situations where the leader lets his followers know what is expected of them and tells them how to perform their tasks. The theory argues that this behavior has the most positive effect when the subordinates' roles and tasks demands are ambiguous and intrinsically satisfying. On the other hand, the achievement oriented leader behavior refers to situations where the leader sets challenging goals for his followers and expects them to perform at their highest level and shows confidence in their ability to meet his expectations. And occupations in which uh, the achievement motive were how would I say this one? Were most predominant were technical jobs and then salespersons and scientists and also engineers and entrepreneurs. Now, the participative leader behavior involves leaders consulting with followers and asking for their suggestions before making a particular decision. So this behavior is predominant when subordinates are highly personally involved in their work or in their task or project. The supportive leader behavior, on the other hand, is directed towards the satisfaction of the subordinates' needs and preferences. So the leader shows much concern for the followers' psychological well being, and this behavior is especially needed in situations in which tasks or relationships are psychologically or physically distressing. Now, let us take note that path goal theory actually assumes that leaders are flexible and that they can change their style of leadership as situations require. So, the theory proposes two contingency variables, such as the environment and the followers' characteristics, that actually moderate the leader's behavior outcome relationship. So, when we say environment, it is the outside, okay, it is actually an outside and outside control, okay, outside control of the followers' task structure, authority system, and work group. And environmental factors determine the type of leader behavior required if the follower outcomes are to be maximized. So, follower characteristics are the locus of control, experience, and perceived ability. Whereas, when we talk about personal characteristics of the subordinates, it determines how the environment and the leader are interpreted. So, effective leaders clarify the path to help their followers achieve and make the goal easier by reducing the roadblocks and pitfalls. Actually, research demonstrates that employees or the subordinates' performance and even the students' performance and satisfaction are positively influenced when the leader or the facilitator compensates for the shortcoming in either the employee or subordinates or the students or the work setting. And according to Nordhaus, the theory is useful because it reminds the leaders that their central purpose as a leader is to help subordinates define their goals in an efficient manner. Now, that is about the path goal theory of leadership. And
Hi guys, please like and subscribe my YouTube channel.
now we will move forward to another important thing, and that is the preferred Filipino leader. I make it a point to include this one because come May 2022 is the election of our nation's leaders. And so, as a concerned citizen, we have to know what are the very essential qualities that makes a good leader for us to have a good basis in choosing our candidates in before we will vote for them for a particular position or given seat in our government. So at an initial glance, as you can see there, the schema, like, the schema actually appears like the typical ideal leader model that are seen in, of course, in our academic and popular literatures, emphasizing the wholeness of the person of a leader. So, what stood out in this schema is the uh, nuancing of the quality labeled as firm. Much has been said about also the Filipinos needing leaders who are authoritarians because of the collectivist orientation and the propensity to follow whoever holds the power. I know you know that because we can all see that in our communities. So this schema or this illustration actually will show us what are our preferred quality of a Filipino leaders and in which we believe that these qualities are essential in order for us to have a really good leader who will, govern and lead our country. So, first, we have the person oriented character. And what we see in that one is that he or she must be makatao, mabait, maalaga, and of course, never do something that is out of violence. And also, mahinahon, which means calm, approachable, helpful, and he listens and he treats people well, and he is very supportive and fair, and he's someone like our parents, like our elders that we can really rely and depend on. And the benefit that we will get from this character is the it this kind of character nurtures a positive environment, and it actually helps the people grow. Okay, it generally helps us citizens of this country to grow better. Okay, and another is that we have this mm, servant leader intention, and what we see from this one is that this person must, serve the people, and he always listens to the people. He is very approachable, very humble, and he is not this person who is acting so authoritative And when we say servant leader, he is very much grounded, and he always feels the pulse of the people. He always looks after the welfare of the people. And the benefit of having this kind of leader is that he makes our lives better, and he is so focused on the marginalized population. Another is competent. So when we see competent, of course, that leader is absolutely knowledgeable, innovative, and decisive, and he does not panic even if we are submerged into a very chaotic or even a very difficult situation, just like right now we are in a pandemic. So we need to have a kind of leader who has that calm and who has that competence to lead our country regardless of the difficulties that he or she is facing. And the benefit for having such character of a leader is that it will help us achieve our goals, solve the problems, and also set a very clear directions as to where our nation is heading, as to what kind of progress we are having, and what kind of development he is implementing for our nation. And then we have firm. Okay, so when we say firm, it has something to do with control. So this leader must, be authoritative, and he must be commanding, and of course, he needs to be strictly commanding, controlling, if not an iron fist. Okay, and also a very good benefit is that it implements rules and disciplines the citizen of the country. So we really have to have this firmness, this conviction of a leader, so that we will be disciplined. The reason why the coronavirus pandemic is still proliferating in our nation is because we Filipinos, we do not discipline ourselves, and so we are relying on others to discipline us, and that is why we need to have this kind of leaders. Okay, another is that we need to have this leader who is firm in a way, not just to control, but firm in conviction. So when we say firm in conviction, it has something to do with his being strong, courageous, independent, and solid. Okay. He is very firm not to sway from any pressures that is being put on him or her, regardless of whatever the people around him is telling him or her to do. But he remains firm and and convicted on what he has planned ahead, or whatever he lays, whatever card he would want to play in order for him to govern fairly and justly our country. And another is integrity. Okay, we need a leader with integrity, someone who is very principled, trustworthy, respectable, and of course, he needs to have this deep sense of ethics. um, we need this kind of leader because he is someone who can inspire us. He or she is someone that sets a very good moral example for his people, for us Filipino citizens. And another is God fearing. Okay, why is it God fearing being involved here? Because being a part of a very religious culture, we all believe in God. And, for us, when someone is God fearing, he or she is humble, he or she is prayerful. And because of that, he has this very deep sense of fear to God, and that would lead us to believe in him that he is a good and righteous person as well. So if this person is God fearing, he or she then would most definitely would do all things in a godly manner, and that he or she would definitely not do something that is wrong or evil. And so those are the preferred Filipino leaders, and I mean, those are the preferred qualities of a Filipino leader that we need to check on our candidates. If they have these characteristics, then most likely they pass for that particular position that they are running in. So, again, guys, ladies and gentlemen, please let us exercise our free will, our right to our right to choose responsibly. Let us take note that all of our rights is also our obligation and our responsibility. So we have to make sure that when we exercise those rights, we do it out of our obligation for our country and out of being a responsible citizen. So those are the things that that are the very important salience and topics when it comes to our political selves. So if you have any questions, you can you can post it in the comment section, or you can save it during our synchronous class meeting.
Hi guys, please like and subscribe my YouTube